Hi everyone. After much demand, mostly, well, all from my very lovely girlfriend, I've finally decided to upload another vlog. Um, of Regarding my girlfriend and the last vlog, she gave some very helpful comments on my stammer regarding, well, talking in front of a camera like this. And she gave me one very good suggestion, which is something I've actually done before, but it's been so long since I've had to do it, that it just went out of my mind. But she gave me a very helpful suggestion of using notes, which I'm currently doing right now. Just having what I'm gonna say actually sorted out and planned. I rarely plan anything, to be honest. I'm very near completely disorganized. But yes, I've actually got things I actually want to say planned out on, all organized and notified. So actually, one thing that I would like to mention is that the best during my English class, I remember I had to give a speech. This was way back in high school, and one I remember I was really nervous about the speech, but again, going back to the notes point, they suggested that they did use notes, but it had to be one in front of the class. Now I'm very shy. I'm pretty shy as it is right now, but back in high school, yeah, I was a quiet kid. I was very nervous about standing in front of people. I can't. I don't mind talking so much now. Oh, it's just starting a conversation that's difficult. But yeah, back then, I just did not like talking at all. Particularly because my stammer was especially considerably worse back then. I suffered something, and I occasionally have it now. But how I think of it in my head is, I think of it as a sentence crash, where a number of sentences are going right from my brain at the same time, and I'm trying to think of a particular way to describe something, and then halfway through a sentence, all the ways to describe it in my head just get jumbled up, and it's just words and everything just all over the place, and I have no idea what to say halfway through the middle of a sentence. And I remember giving a speech about this, about how I just didn't like talking in general. And up to that point, it was probably one of the few times where I'd actually been clear on what I was discussing that wasn't Doctor Who, which was a miracle. And it didn't. It does bring a smile to my face that one of the few times I have, one of the few times back then that didn't stammer about something was, of course, when I was giving a speech about the stammer in particular. You gotta love life's little ironies. But yes, away from that boring shit. Okay, not much has changed since last week in my life in general. I'm been trying to keep up with my homework for college, trying to improve my timekeeping skills, making sure that it's not all done for the last minute, which is the worst habit I have. In fact, it was pretty much one of the reasons I failed on A levels. Well, most of my A levels, but no. The AAT course, not only is it much easier, but I am keeping. But it's nice to be able to keep on top of. I do have a better sense of what I want to do when I want to do it, and so far it's worked out pretty much okay. It's not worked out perfectly, but but I think I'm getting there, and I need to be properly there, because at the moment it's just the easy stuff, and got my first assessment in a couple of weeks. And there's a few things I need to sort out before then. But yeah. But yeah, at the moment it's just the easy stuff. Over the course of the next couple of months, it's going to get a lot harder. So, really difficult exams and coursework. Always nice to have something to look forward to. Okay, moving away from the stammer. Yeah, like that's ever going to happen. The stammer just sticks with you for life, really. But yeah, moving away from life in general onto the more nerdy stuff. One thing that's doesn't really not that important, but it's something that I do feel just a bit strongly about. Dread, specifically how very little box office it's gotten, and to me, I'm actually more than a bit surprised and disappointed with just how low and how much it's bombed, because I wasn't expecting it to be a blockbuster. It was never meant to be a blockbuster. It was never meant to, sell millions and millions of dollars. That's why one of the aims from the start was to film it in South Africa, get the budget as low as possible to something around $50 million. But even I'm surprised that it still looks to be a total flop at the cinema, because it is one of the best sci-fi action movies I've seen in years. It's as I mentioned in my previous vlog, I absolutely love it. But the problem is that it's not just the fact that we've finally got a good Judge Dredd adaptation, and no one's seeing it. It's the fact that we got a hardcore action movie, an R-rated film that takes itself fairly seriously, but and also it avoids being cheesy in the kind of ironic way that films like Expendables and Grindhouse movies. I love the Grindhouse films. Don't get me wrong, but there does seem to be this kind of when it comes to action films, they're either PG-13 or, in the rare case when they're R-rated movies, they're done in a kind of semi-humorous, pretty much let's laugh at this in an ironic kind of way, kind of R-rated film. Or mostly it just sucks. Dredd, for once, we get a movie like Dredd, and it's none of those things. In my humble opinion, it's none of those things. It's just a great R-rated movie, and a lot of us action movie fans have been demanding for a really great R-rated action film. We just had too many PG-13 action movies, and it's not that I mind those. When they're great, they can be fantastic, but they should be aimed for that kind of a certificate from the start. I just look at Total Recall, the new PG-13 remake, and I think to myself, why? Now, you could say that there's an argument there that there's not a remake of the original R-rated Total Recall film. It's actually a more faithful interpretation based on Philip K. Dick's story. We can buy it for you wholesale, and there'll probably be an argument there. But if that were the case, why bother calling it Total Recall in the first place? So yeah, you've got PG-13 remakes. Dredd's one of the few films that it's one of those few films that actually gets it right a second time. gets everything right where the first attempt failed. First attempt being that God awful Stallone film. Well, it's god awful in terms of being a Judge Dredd adaptation, at least. So, yeah, it just really bothers me that, a lot of us have been begging for an R-rated action movie, not just Dredd fans. I mean, a lot of us in general are throwback to, those old Carpenter classics like Escape from New York or RoboCop, Total Recall, Golden, fantastic, truly great sci-fi action movies. Dredd is on, in my humble opinion, it's on a par with those kind of films, and yet hardly anyone sees it, and it just hugely disappoints me that we finally get a film we demanded and no one bothers to see it. And if that's going to be the case, then people really shouldn't complain when the next PG-13 remake of a classic film comes out, or just PG, or just total or crap in general, and wonder, OMG, why are the film studios just releasing more and more crap? It's because crap sells, and because we live in an age where we don't actually deserve good films anymore. No one's actually interested in good films. People would rather see Finding Nemo, which is a good film in itself, but they'd rather see it in 3D, which it was never intended to be. It wasn't made for, at the end of the day. People would rather see Resident fucking Evil than see Dredd. And that's really fucking disappointed me, I've got to admit. It's just one of those things I feel strongly about. I'm almost sure that, R-rated sci-fi, it's not dead, but it's struggling. It's really struggling. R-rated action and R-rated sci-fi, it's pretty much, the serious stuff is pretty much, it's wavering between life and death at the moment. Although I will say I am very keen to check out Looper. If that is half as good as critics have been saying, that could really give the R-rated sci-fi genre a good boost of a good boost of activity. It may inspire that there's still some life in the life for R-rated sci-fi or action movies, really.